Okay, I would like to help you with the beginning of problems 5.53 and 5.54 in terms of how you set up the equation. And so get you onto the beginning and then let you try to balance it. Both of these problems are on page 244 in your textbook. Now 5.53 gives a long description about calcium oxalate, and it does tell us that it says that the compound will dissolve and the oxalate ion will be changed into oxalic acid, and they tell me that oxalic acid is a weak acid. That's important because when you write a net ionic equation, remember, weak acids do not separate. And so then they go on to say, write a balanced net ionic equation for the oxidation of H2 C2O4, and that's oxalic acid. So that's the weak acid, and potassium dichromate, which is K2CR2O7. They do tell you that the products that it will yield are Cr3+, the chromium 3 ion, and carbon dioxide. So a couple things when I'm getting started here. This one, for example, this is the oxalic acid. This is a weak acid, so it won't dissociate. So if I'm writing a net ionic equation, I am going to keep that one together. So I will write H2C2O4. Now the potassium dichromate here, this one is an ionic compound. Well, we know that ionic compounds dissociate. So when I'm writing a net ionic equation, the potassium's going to come off. Now I am assuming, because chromium is one of the products formed, that the potassium would be the a spectator ion, because they didn't tell me about the products there. So then when this forms, it says it will form Cr3+ and CO2. So when I balance it, the half reactions would be H2C2O4 goes to CO2, and then the Cr2O7 would go to Cr3+. Now in this problem it tells me to balance it, so I would balance this equation. They do tell me that it is in an acidic solution. So that was given. Okay, so that's the starting. So you would start with these two half reactions to balance it. Let me show you. I want to also just help you get set up at 5.54. And so it tells me that it says bleach such as Clorox is a dilute solution of sodium hypochlorite, which they tell me is NaOCl. Now I know, because this is an anionic compound, that this would dissociate into its two components. And it wants me to write a balanced net ionic equation. Remember, net ionic equation gets rid of spectators' ions, and it wants me to start with the sodium hypochlorite and the Na2S2O3. Again, this is ionic because there's a metal, so this would also dissociate into its two pieces. It would actually have two sodiums. So they tell me the hypochlorite ion is reduced to chloride, and the S2O3 ion is oxidized to sulfate. So they're telling me in the net reaction I have these two reactants, and they are going to be oxidized and reduced to be these two products. So this is the equation that you'll start to use to balance it. So you're going to start with the two half reactions, this one and this one. So that's where you start your balancing. It's not noted specifically in this problem if it's acidic or basic, but I will tell you that in the solutions they balance this like an acidic solution.